Hello friends, welcome to this channel. So, in the last two sessions, we saw what is Agile and what is Agile Scrum, right? So, if you have not seen those videos yet, then go and watch them. I'll give you a video link in the description, okay? So, in this video, we are going to see some most important and commonly asked interview questions. Guys, if you are planning to attend an interview, 95% chances are they were going to ask you about your experience with Agile and your understanding of Agile process and methodologies, right? So, this top 10 interview question and answers will help you prepare for your dream job and your dream interview. So, without any further ado, let's get started. So the first question is, what is agile testing? Obviously this is a contextual question, because if you are applying for a developer role, they are to ask you about your understanding of testing life cycle and how you look up to the testing importance of testing. If you are applying as an QA role, they are bound to look up to you in term of agility, in term of dynamic working conditions. So the answer that you provide is, agile testing is a practice that a QA follows in a dynamic environment where testing requirements keep changing according to customer needs and requirements. It is done parallel to the development activity, where the testing team receives small frequent code from the development team for testing. This is also called as continuous integration, right? And developments as and once user stories are done, they will be marked as completed and the code base will be merged, which means that now the queue is have to take the latest code which the developers have provided, and that is what makes it agile, because the code is frequently received by the QA and from developers it is continuously shipped. That makes the agile testing very critical and dynamic in agile conditions. The next questions that will be asked is, what is the difference between burn up and burn down chart? This is to see if you have the understanding of these terminologies and do you understand the importance of these matrices. Burns up and burns down chart are used to keep track of the process of the project. Burn up chart represent how much work has been completed in any project. Burn down chart represents remaining work in a project, right? So when you open up your agile board, you would see the burn down and burn up charts. Burn up chart means how much work has been completed in a project. Burn down chart should show the remaining work in a project, right? The ideal chart should always be diagonal line. Try and achieve that. That's what can be another question, tricky one, okay? The next is, explain different kinds of roles that are available in Scrum. So there are three main roles that we have in a Scrum team. One is the project owner. He has the responsibilities of managing the product backlog. He will work with the end user and customers and provide proper requirements to the team to build the proper product. Scrum Master. Scrum Master works with the Scrum team to make sure each sprints get completed on time. Scrum Master ensure proper workflow for the team. Scrum team. Each member of the development team should be self-organized, dedicated and responsible for the high quality of the work. We we do not differentiate between a QA or a developer or a full stack or a DevOps. No, each member of the team is recognized, is designated as a Scrum team member. What is product backlog and sprint backlog? What is the difference between these two? The product backlog is maintained by the project owner, which contains every features and requirement of the product. Sprint backlog can be treated as a subset of product backlog, which contains features and requirements related to that particular sprint only. Okay, so remember, read these two definitions very clearly. This is one of the top most asked rated question. Okay, now this is yet another important question. This is usually asked for senior developer or PO or Scrum Masters. Explain velocity in Agile. Velocity is a metric that is calculated by the addition of all efforts. Estimates associated with user stories completed in an iteration it predicts. How much work Agile team can complete in a sprint and how much time will it requires to complete the project, right? Usually, velocity is a metric which can be in terms of points, right? How many story points have been completed in one sprint, right? So that is your velocity. Over a period of time, once the team has better understanding of the code, of the application of the functionality, the velocity should increase going forward. That is the ideal scenario, right? Next, this is one of the favorite question of most interviewers. What is test driven development? Now, here this is tricky question for both QA roles as well as developer or full stack roles. If you are a QA, your answer should be different. If you are a developer, your answer should be different. But it should be the same flavor, which is it is a test first driven development technique in which we add a test before we write the complete production code, which means first everybody will write the automation test use cases, right? That is where you identify all the use cases of that particular functionality and then you work backward to make those test cases pass, right? That is called the test driven development. So basically you write the test, you run the test, and based on the result you refactor the code to, to fulfill the test requirement. Extremely critical, extremely likely question to be asked to you in your agile interview. Okay, now what is a spike? Now this is yet another important question. If you are applying as a scrum master or a project owner or a product owner, so what is a spike? There may be some technical issue or design problems in the project which needs to be resolved first. We don't know the way forward, right? We need to spend some time, we need to do analyze and come out with the analysis document or better understanding or a blueprint, and that POC or the solution to this problem is called spike. So spike is a user story or time taken or spent in terms of finding a possible solution or analysis of a technical or a design problem that has come up in the project, right? So what is the difference between epic, user story and tasks? User stories, it defines the actual business requirement generally created by the business owner. Task 2 accomplish the business requirement, development team will create small granular tasks. Epic, a group of related user stories together, is called as an epic. Whenever you are asked such a question, always give an example. For example, an epic is authentication system. User stories could be login, logout, forget password, etc. A task is a breakdown of the user story. You can say implement a validation for email address, right? That is a task. But the user story is create login mechanism. When you take multiple user stories like login, forget user, new user, they become an epic, which is called authentication. So give an example always whenever you talk about these use cases in your interview, right? Now explain the iterative and incremental development in Agile. Iterative development means software is developed and delivered to the customer, and based on the feedback, again developed in cycle or releases and sprints. For example, you build a software, you develop a software and you deliver it, and then you get the feedback from the customer, and then you build improve upon in terms of cycles or releases. That is called iterative development. Incremental development means software is delivered and developed in part or in increments. In each increment a portion of the complete requirement is delivered. For example, if you are building, let's say, 5 modules in incremental development, you would build only one module completely, right? First that is delivered, then you will build the second module, then third, then fourth, and so on. That is called incremental development. Whereas iterative development, you will build all the 5 and give it to customer. Customer will provide you the feedback, you will note that down, and then again release a new version of it, and that is called iterative development. Incremental development is you develop software in part and increments, right? Next is, what is test stub? Test stub is a small code that mimics a specific component in the system and can replace it. So this is nothing but test stub, or you can also call test data, or you can also call mock data, right? So this is a small piece of code that mimics a specific component in the system and can replace it. For example, if you are building a system which will return you an object of type user, you can create a mock user object in the code and pass it, right? That is your test stub, or you can also call it test data object, right? So that is a test stub. Whenever you answer such question, always try to give examples from real time project that you have worked. That adds a lot of value, and it also gives interviewers the confidence. Okay, understand? Alright, so that's it for this video. Today we showed top 10 interview question and answers on Agile. I hope this interview question will help you to crack your dream interview and get you that dream job. If you have any doubt or any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. I will be happy to help you. Thank you for watching. Bye and have a nice day.